Destination Earthstar is a 1989 sci-fi game for the Nintendo Entertainment System. I think by now my well-documented love of bargain bin games is pretty well established, and when I found this game for $6 and I realized I'd never even heard of it, I had to pick it up. Acclaim is of course a publisher I was very familiar with in the 1980s, but not the developer Imagineering Inc. With designers like Gary Kitchen, who was probably best known for his work on the Atari 2600 version of Donkey Kong, I believe the publishers were confident that the game would get a good treatment overall. It's a combination of game types, the first of which is the most unique. When you begin Destination Earthstar, you're dropped into the cockpit of your own spaceship. You're going to travel through the cosmos and find everything from planets to space stations to enemy bases and fighters. The screen is filled with what can be an overwhelming number of details, but the important things are the first-person view in the upper right, showing you what's outside of your ship right in front of you, your navigational map on the left, and a targeting reticle in the bottom right, along with a heading monitor to help you ensure you're pointing in the right direction and let you know what's around you. The red bars in the center right of the screen show you your velocity and thrust at sublight speeds, and when maxed out, you can make the jump to hyperspace. Other details can be found from ammunition to fuel and even exact position coordinates, but most players are never going to need these. First, you approach any of the numbered spaces on the grid. The numbers indicate enemy presence. This is done via the first-person view, where you can fire different types of energy weapons and torpedoes to take down your enemies in exciting, free-range dogfighting battles, which are not necessarily contained to the square on the grid where the battles began. Once you eliminate all of the enemies on the map, the location of their secret base is revealed. You can stop off at armories or other bases and replenish your supplies, then proceed to the enemy base. This is where the second game type comes in. The game will switch to the second game mode, which is a horizontal side-scrolling shoot-'em-up, similar to games like R-Type. This is no walk in the park, and just when you think you figured it out, new weapon upgrades or even enemies from behind will take you by surprise. Once you finish one of these segments, back into outer space you go with a new grid to work your way through. Although the levels vary a little here and there, at this point, you've really experienced all the game has to offer. And I pretty much do mean all. The music doesn't change. There's one song for the cockpit levels and one for the shoot-'em-up levels. The takeoff and landing cutscenes don't change, and the enemy types aren't very well varied. The music itself is epic at first, but when you realize it's the only song you're going to hear, you're much more tempted to play by muting your TV. Sound effects are in no way vital to your ability to play the game, they don't do much for you and quickly get repetitive. Graphically, the game probably could have done something more by this point in the life cycle of the NES. Destination Earthstar's side-scrolling parts have some interesting scrolling techniques and allow you some freedom of choice when it comes to picking a path through the level, but I feel they move too quickly. They're unforgiving and prove to be quite challenging. The first-person portions of the game don't offer much new and amazing graphical detail either, but at least it's a refreshing perspective. Not many space sims were played in the first person like this in the 1980s, and especially not on a console with such a limited control scheme. To put the kind of simulator detail into this game that they did must have taken a significant time investment, and I can appreciate that. I find these segments to be wildly fun and entertaining, but the side-scrollers to be viciously difficult and unfair. All of that being said, is there a story for Destination Earthstar? It's an interesting title, but what does it mean? Back in the days of instruction manuals, you could jumpstart your imagination with what you found in the booklet. The time has come to return home. You've never actually been there. It's been eons since anyone from your long lineage of humans has actually been there. But the image of Earth has been kept alive by the Elders. You've heard stories about it, and your race still performs the music from it. Ah, the music. Even the Kojans seem to take on human-like qualities when they hear the music. The Kojans are the only ones who kidnapped an entire ship full of Earthlings, not just humans, but canines, bovines, and domestic robotines, too. That was centuries ago, when the Kojan Empire was younger, wilder, less civilized. It was a part of their attempt to collect the highest species from all 8 of the megastar systems. At first, the Kojans displayed the living spoils of their astral journeys in open zoo-like cages. Eventually, the Earth's humans, along with species from other star systems, were incorporated into the Kojan sociostructure as slaves. Finally, as the centuries passed and the Kojans became more mellow, more refined, non-natives were given the same rights and privileges that the Kojans themselves enjoyed. With their newfound freedom and financial resources, the Earthstar Society has decided to send a representative back to Earth. The process for choosing that person has been quite delicate and very detailed. The person must be a full-blooded Earthling. Strong, intelligent, personable, he has to make a good impression on the ancestors of Earth, if they still exist. Furthermore, he must know how to fly Spaceship Earthstar, created just for this mission. But most importantly, he must be an ace spacefighter. For in order to reach Earth, he must traverse 8 star systems, and he must destroy the 8 terrorist bases within those star systems. Each star system is riddled with terrestrial terrorists. They're poised, ready and waiting for anything or anyone to enter their star system. And in addition to a roaming fleet of deadly fighter ships, each pirate gang controls a powerful base station, which is at the heart of every star system. So even if an intruder can manage to combat the wandering fleet, he must still confront the base station in order to exit the star system alive. Well, as you may now have guessed, it is you who's been chosen to journey to Earth, to battle the terrestrial terrorists along the way, to return, after all these years, to the place of your origins. They say you can never go home again, but then again, they don't know how long you've waited. That's pretty awesome. Sure, it's a sci-fi trope we've seen a time or two in other games, movies, and books over the years, but it sets up a pretty detailed world and makes you feel like the pilot for the job. And they make you feel like the journey you're about to embark on is bigger than you. It's all about retracing the steps of your ancestors. It's about finding your home. It's unfortunate that absolutely none of this comes through as you're playing the game itself. But if you're into shoot-em-ups, or you want a unique space sim experience on your NES, Destination Earthstar has enough going for it to make it worth picking up. And if you do make it back to your destination, you'll be able to go back to Earthstar and tell everyone about our story so far. Hey everybody, thanks for watching episode 45 of Our Story So Far TV. Likes, comments, and subscriptions are always a big deal to me, and I really appreciate them. If you want to start a dialogue, feel free to hit me up on Twitter, @NewAngel, that's NUANGEL. If you're looking for more of this show and don't know where to look, feel free to start out at ourstorysofar.tv. And I always try my best to have a new episode ready for you again every 2 weeks. So until next time, take care of yourself.